Yep, Commissioner.
All right. I don't see any changes to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, looks like commissioners' reports, invoices, and credit applications.
We had issues balancing, so that's why you didn't get the
You had what?
issues balancing
Oh,
and
balancing.
things. So the girls were here until 6:30 last night trying to get that. That's why that was so late.
Okay. Well, I just went through it. We just got it. I didn't see anything that I really had concerns about. And so,
I did skim through it with Caitlin real quick, and most of it was standard, normal,
yeah,
everyday stuff.
yeah. So,
Take a look real quick.
you go ahead and review that, and then we have invoices also.
Did you see this? Yeah. What's that one?
Christie.
Oh, that's what happens when you move things to Excel, and the column wasn't big enough. So let me, oh, this is for the microwave. Let me call and see how much that's gonna be.
Sorry?
I went through pretty quick.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, sorry, I meant to hit 7336. Can you send me all those to Luann? I need to know how much the
Thanks.
invoice was for Dave Wireless. Hey, can you tell me how much the Day Wireless invoice was? Yeah. 269,910, right? 84. Okay, it cut off on the commission report, so that's something we need to watch for, because it just shows X's because the field wasn't big enough. So, if you guys will watch for that. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yep, okay. I'm done.
All
That's
right.
part of the big microwave project. So that's the first installment per the contract. We'll
Gotcha.
pay like a percentage and then so on.
We're using ARPA funds
Gotcha,
on this.
thanks. So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the commissioner report as presented.
And then here's the invoices also.
And invoices.
So you
Is that good?
can look at, yes. So we have motion, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Do I have to sign anything on this?
Yeah, just sign it right
Oh,
there.
okay.
We'll easily sign them all. At least 2 signatures on them.
Gotcha.
But
Same here?
they're all different invoices.
Is this
there.
where I sign it, right here?
Yeah, you can sign there.
Same thing on this one?
Yeah. You can sign that box. Approval. Okay. Next, we have salary rate approval forms. And we just got these this morning too, right?
I didn't have them on my desk
And
until
that's why I
after.
want to have a conversation here,
Yeah.
is we need these salary rate approval forms ahead of time, so that we have the opportunity to review them and stuff before they come before us. We just got them this morning, so.
Okay,
So
Look how-
possibly, we need to see if I can get them in my office before like 3 and 4 o'clock.
okay,
That was the problem, is it wasn't in my, it wasn't on my desk until after 4.
and I'll have to
Check it out.
check of when they arrived at my office.
Well, they're dated the 10th, but that does not mean they were brought over on the
Okay.
10th.
And-
A lot of departments sign them and they'll sit on them until they bring them over.
And if that's the problem, then we need to go further down the line to make sure that we have them.
Well, and honestly, those don't have to be signed because they actually did the 2 weeks. So they could have waited to be signed on Tuesday.
Okay, but
Yeah, okay,
So,
we have a desire to look at them before we walk up there.
you bet. Yep,
good thing those are standard.
okay.
Okay, a motion on
We
the,
have a
sal-
motion on this.
From Seth.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the salary rate
those
approval
yesterday.
forms.
we have a motion, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right. Anybody here for Dave Martinez? No? Okay, he was first on our agenda. It looks like Hal will go to you.
Commissioner, we met Hal Jensen, Planning Director, with
Tristan Borkwin, Assistant Planning Director.
pleasure to be here this morning. I forgot to do my formalities, I'm sorry. Real quickly, you have before you a memo of understanding from the City of Pocatello relative to conversation that was held in our quarterly joint meeting with the City of Pocatello and planning departments and engineering departments. In that conversation, it was presented the extension of Foothill Boulevard to then Tidecraft Road, etc. That's ground that currently is in our jurisdiction. The memo of understanding was drafted. It was then sent to me, and then I forwarded it to legal. Legal has had conversation with the City of Pocatello Planning Department about some of their concerns with the language. Alan Bamey, County Legal, has done the review. He has some concerns about the language. Beyond that, that's what I have to report to you in regards to this particular agenda item.
Okay, so we're not ready to move forward on it? till we-
I was hoping that Brian would be here to at least report to you what legal's concerns were with the language. The one item that was expressed to me that it was more contractual language with commitments as opposed to a memo of understanding in a broader aspect.
Okay, and that memo's not in our packets, we haven't seen it as commissioners yet,
Okay.
so.
I was anticipating
I
that
don't remember
county,
seeing it.
I didn't see it.
I was anticipating that county legal would have that discussion.
Okay, yeah, we haven't had that discussion yet.
Well, may we somewhat put that on hold and go to the next item?
Okay,
And anticipating that Brian will be back and he could possibly address some of those concerns.
okay. Well, and I'll just tell you that without seeing it ourselves and looking at it at all, we won't make a decision on it today.
Okay, that hasn't been forwarded to you from county legal relative to their
Correct.
concerns?
Correct.
Okay. Last evening, we had Planning and Development Council meeting. That was Mr. Wade Egan's last formal meeting. On the 1st of March, we have our quarterly or our annual joint meeting between council and commission, which will be the 1st of March. We presented to you after application and interviews Stuart Ward as a member of our council, and Stuart will be at that meeting to be sworn in. We will prepare the paperwork for the swearing in and the legal language. You have before you, and my mind just drew a blank.
Just recommendation to commission to fill a seat on Planning and Development Council.
Yeah, Tristan, the gentleman's name.
Tam Maynard is the gentleman that we had previously discussed and interviewed for the vacant seat for April 1st. So,
Okay. Yeah, and we had that discussion.
So Mr. Maynard comes with a vast background of development and also being on other planning and development, either commissions or councils, whichever you want to refer to it as. Our language is much different than most because we refer to ours as a council as opposed to a commission. Anyway, our recommendation is that he take the seat of Wade Egan, and his first meeting would be also in March,
it
so,
would be April.
or excuse me, April,
Okay.
and then we will get him sworn in April.
Okay. One of us need to be there swearing in.
Pardon?
Yes.
One of
Yeah.
us will need to be there swearing in. If you'll just let us know the exact date and time,
Okay.
we'll make sure that happens. A motion to move forward on this application.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the recommendation to fill the seat on the Planning and Development Council.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 So while we're here, and I have not, however, Tristan and Elise Foster in our office have been involved with Shanda on a couple of items. Could we invite Shanda up since she's on an agenda item here?
She isn't here.
Did Shanda leave?
She walked in.
Never mind.
Well, there she is.
There she comes, right there.
Well, here's everybody we wanted.
Shanda, come on up, please. You've been requested.
So I asked Commissioner Moser if we could make the schedule and have you, since we're here, report with Tristan and Elise, your
Yes, for the survey.
surveyor.
Yes, I'm sure can. I'm Jenny Crystal, Chief Procurement Officer. So we have been out for a request for qualifications for surveyors. It was not required of us, but as I talked to the department, right, and we felt that this was a good process to go through, we're now at the end of that process. We've received 4 qualifications from different surveyors here in Bannock County, and their review team has reviewed them. The next step in that qualification process is the contract discussion. And there has been a little bit of hang up with creating the new contracts. So that is the next process, that as soon as we get that completed, we'll have the recommendation back before the board of who would like to accept those contracts. We'll be back for review, and here we are hoping in the next couple of weeks, we anticipate these contracts going live on April 1st.
Okay, any concerns there?
No.
Perfect.
Move forward.
Great.
Thank you. So revisiting our previous agenda item, Brian is with us, and if he has anything to report relative to language concerns, I would ask him to join us at this point and share any of that.
So this is regarding Craft Road.
Correct.
So I know Alan is reviewing this. I did talk to him a little bit. I know he's spoken with Braden. They sent what they called an MOU. Looks a little more of a contract. There's different terms. We just don't feel it's ready to go forward right now. I think we need to flesh some things out and kind of see how the commission wants to proceed. Does the commission want to proceed under an MOU? Does the commission want to proceed under a contract?
We haven't received it yet as the commissioners.
Okay.
So if you'd make sure that gets sent to us so that we can look at it too and have some comments.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, and I know like this has been Alan's project, but I don't really know what else needs to be said at the meeting
That's
right now.
it.
We just don't feel it's ready yet.
At this point,
Some
if there's any language corrections that Alan suggests, I think
Yeah.
that those red lines should be presented to the commission before, as part of their review.
And just for your information, I've asked John, Commissioner Crowder,
Okay.
to look over contracts, look over negotiations and stuff, so he has some expertise in that field, and I'd like him to review these things also.
Yeah. I know there's just a couple points of concern that we had, and then we can run it up the poll and see where we go.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, the two individuals that were at the town hall meeting, I've called both of them, had conversations. They will probably be getting a hold of your office about property up Crystal Springs. Told them they had to have applications and stuff before we could answer questions. We can't just keep answering questions with nothing there to fall back onto. So we'll see what happens with that.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you. Shanda, why don't you come up and finish up?
Okay. I'm Shanda Crystal, Chief Procurement Officer. The other item I have before the board is an update, a procurement update. A few things that I just wanted to point out on the list. The Fairgrounds pole barn is moving along, and that draft has been submitted to the Fair Board. We'll meet next week on the 22nd to review and approve. And I do have, Dan is helping me clarify some of the scope of work language to make sure that we get something to put out to contractors that can really compare apples to apples. So that's been a great project and is moving forward. We anticipate that being before the board. I think it's the March 3rd meeting is when that one will come before the board. On the detention center roof, we did meet with county staff as well as the roof contractor and the manufacturer of the material as well yesterday. And we had a really good meeting and vetted out a lot of different ideas. And then the contractor is going to put together some numbers for us and submit those. He's hoping by tomorrow that I'll get those. And so then I anticipate that update coming back before the board for a discussion next week on our recommendation on that project. The HVAC in the jail, in the booking and depot, is moving along as well. We had some hangups with ordering, getting the units actually here. And once they arrived, right, Mother Nature decided to show her not so warm and fuzzy side. So as they have done some internal stuff that they needed to get done over this last couple weeks, so that has been great to get going. And then as soon as they can get on top of that roof without a foot of snow on top, they'll get the roof units put in and they'll conclude that project as well. My final update is a report on the switching out of the trucks for the event center and the facilities. There's a couple different things that we needed to report back on the board and then get guidance on how best to move forward. One of those was that if we could reapply the equity that was in the event center truck, as we had 2 trucks, sold the one, put the equity on. As I double checked with Enterprise, it's not possible to move that equity until we sell that truck. Then that would become available, right? We could put it anywhere the commission desired to, but not until then. So that is stuck to the truck that the event center currently has at the moment. And then the difference between the 2 payments is slightly less than I thought, but at $182 a month. So depending on when that switch was made, if we make it, so they've already paid their February invoices. If we happen to make it before their March comes out, it's just over $1,200 difference between those 2 for the lease payments. And then however Christine wants to move forward or would recommend to the board to make that switch would be great. The other item we were reporting on is the switching of the beds. So currently the facility bed has a tool bed on it, and we asked Road and Bridge to get us a quote on what it would take to get that off of there, and if that company was interested in purchasing that from Bannock County and then changing it for a flatbed for the event center. So that has been done. We reached out to Bear Lake Trailers, and they did report back that the bed itself is a little under $5,000 to get that flatbed, and then they are interested in the tool bed that we have, and they would do a trade-in value of $1,500, leaving $3,400 to make that switch for the flatbed. Now the discussion of how to move forward, or how we want to make that work.
How much did we pay for that bed, do you know? The tool bed?
I could look. I didn't.
Let's look at that a little bit. I mean, $1,500 isn't much.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
That's an expensive bed.
Yeah. So,
They were saying that the bed is actually an odd length, and it'd be a little bit tough to sell, and that's why the trade-in value was so low.
Is it because it's a 6 foot?
It's a 9 foot.
Oh, is it a 9 foot?
Yeah, so it's an odd size. But
I bet you we'd get more for that if we took it off and sold it at prime time.
probably right.
that's my feelings too. So let's find out what we paid for it, and then we'll have a further discussion along that line, but I would be leaning towards, just as Jason just said, I think we can sell it, get something out of it better, for a better price than $1,500. So,
I will report back the cost of the tool bed, and we'll move forward in that direction. Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'll ask them if they've sold any of those, because they sell all over the place. I'll reach out to them and ask them if they've sold any like that,
Prime time.
and see about what they go for. She'll give me those numbers.
Yeah, we should get a better price than that. All right, let's go with Praise Temple of God. If you would please introduce yourself and who you're representing and the purpose you are here.
I'm Celeste Diggers. I represent Praise Temple of God for Pastor Thomas.
Okay, and this is one of them deals where by circumstance you forgot, missed,
Yes.
or did not apply
forgot.
for tax
I forgot.
exemption as a religious.
I forgot.
Okay. Well, you're not the only one that has done that this year. And by statute, you are entitled to have the tax exemption. We just require that people come and before us, if they didn't fill out the paperwork ahead of time, so that it's on the record that we're not just picking and choosing, but everybody has to follow the same rules, and we would encourage you to make sure to put it on your calendar, because this is an annual paper that you need to fill out. Questions? No. Motion to,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the tax exemption request as presented.
and I'll actually read the parcel number. It's RPP OC 073300. We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank
All
you.
right, the paperwork will be taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank you. Scott, go ahead and come up.
Good morning, Commissioners. First, Tiffany, come on up. First, we have a contract with District 4 High School Rodeo. In the past, they have used our facilities to hold a couple of rodeos. This year, they've asked again to use the indoor for one of the rodeos and then the grandstands for another rodeo, along with a couple of additional practice dates where they come in for a couple of hours and use the indoor arena to do some practices. And so last year, they paid the full fee for the indoor arena plus the tractor, and then we waived the fees, or you waived the fees for the arena for them to lope in the arena number 1. This year, we're asking the same, but we're asking also to waive the fees for the practice dates, which actually looks like it's a pretty decent fee waiver. So they would pay $1,280, and then we would end up waiving about $1,400, but allowing them to come in and practice for 2 hours for 3 days and then have their 2 event days. We do have 2 districts that are in our county, District 4 and District 8, and so this is kind of our home district and we're their home turf. So.
And concessions?
Typically we don't do concessions on for high school rodeo stuff.
It just says in here that they're gonna get 100%.
Yeah.
Had that
So,
question myself.
We would be doing yours.
yeah, so typically they run their own concession stuff. It has nothing to do with us, and that's,
Are they using our facility?
they do use the windows, but not our food, they typically don't use our ovens or any of our stuff. They just
Oven,
use the
grill.
window. That's
Just
it.
open the window up.
Yeah, so there's no expense to us. It's literally just the space.
For the sake of clarification, can we maybe include in there that concessions will be ran by them?
Sure.
And that's why they're getting 100%. It just looks, if we're gonna have to start tracking, which we might have to start tracking
For sure.
when somebody else gets the money that we run concessions, it just keeps it clear
Okay,
as to who's running it, and that's why we're not getting anything.
okay.
If that's okay.
What kind of concessions are they selling?
At the rodeos, they usually do different things. They might do chili. I mean,
Chili dogs.
Sometimes they do pizza. Just it's really depends on the volunteers that they get to come and run it for.
Are they certified by the health department?
We have not checked certifications in the past.
That may be a concern
Okay.
on our facility to have somebody selling food products to the public that is not certified by the health department. So let me check that out a little bit further. I mean,
Okay.
the rest of the contract, the only thing, and it's one that I keep bringing up, and this is in the facilities, sole and exclusive access to Bannock County bathrooms. That's another one, and it just, we have a lot of bathrooms up there. And I say if they have, this is in facilities number 5. That's the only one that, I'd take the bathrooms out, or they joint use or something, but they don't.
Yeah, I had another question on that as well. When you're talking about under clause 2, where it's talking about terms of agreement, and then you have certain dates listed, April 14, 15, March 24, 27, April 7, and then April 21 and 22. And then when I come down to facilities, there's a different date of April 5.
To use
It
building
may be
B.
the old date that we just moved it back. So it's something we can change that to reflect the current dates above. So it'll be the April 7th.
So it's not
Which is a
April 5,
practice
it's April
date.
7.
Because you had the March 24th and April 7th. But there's probably a better way, or is that a day you guys use the Building B for your meeting?
Yeah.
Because they have a day that they come up and use Building B for the meeting, and so that's what that April 5th, that they use that for an hour. So I think that we could easily strike the bathroom. That is easy, because the bathrooms are all public bathrooms anyway. They're not
Yeah.
associated with any one facility.
That's
So
why we don't need it in there.
That's not an issue. And if you would like, we can move the building B use up there as well. I know typically when people use the grandstand, we allow them to use the building B. At times, we tie it up because we can't rent it out as part of that. And then the health information, really the only events that we have that typically run their own concessions is high school rodeo. I know we have a little bit of say, or a little bit more over junior high, but high school rodeo, that's part of the contract with those guys, is they run all their concessions. And typically if a food truck comes up, we do verify their health and safety, but we don't when people run concessions. And as I'm sure as you imagine, there's a lot of times that people bring food and sell food at the rodeos that might not necessarily be sanctioned by us or regulated.
A lot of the fairs and different things, I think, are the same way, but I want an opportunity to talk to Brian about it and just to make sure.
Sure.
I'll just tell you that I have no problem. We're not gonna sign this today.
Okay.
Until we do the updates. You won't have to come back because we've already questioned you, but I'd like these updates to be made and then a conversation on that. But to reserve those dates and stuff, I feel confident in allowing that to happen.
Yeah, I do as well. I had another question. Are they selling any alcohol at this event?
No.
Okay.
So none of our youth rodeos, we won't sell any alcohol at the youth rodeos at all. It doesn't mean it's not consumed, but we do have the sheriff's office will come and oftentimes we'll use a underage drinking grant to come and patrol for us, just to make sure that people are, being responsible.
So
but they don't sell
They're
it.
not selling alcohol, we're not selling
No.
alcohol.
No
Okay.
alcohol at these events. Other rodeos we will.
But where the youth get it, on the other hand, we don't have any control.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Commissioners, we need to make the changes to the contract, obviously, but as far as fees, if there's going to be any changes to the fees, is that something that you guys feel comfortable at least saying one way or the other on that, so that they could take it back to their board?
Where it's high school rodeo, I have no problem giving a break on the fees. I'd rather have the youth there utilizing the events. I mean, we've had some vandalism. The more we can talk to them and say, Bannock County's allowing us to do this, and they give us a break, and that the youth know that it's kind of a privilege to be up there and not just you get it for nothing. I like that. So I don't have any problem with the $1,200.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. That at least gives you something. And then we'll work out the details of the contract and bring that back to you guys, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, Tiffany. All right, the next is a discussion that we've had in the past, and I just wanted to kind of, before we move forward with the plan, I invited Kyle and his team to be here for part of this discussion because it impacts anybody that runs CDLs. For the last little bit, we've looked at ways, because hiring people, especially, kind of at the wages that we're bringing people on, hiring people with CDLs is really tough, and the last several hirings that we have, jobs we posted, we haven't even had anybody really with CDLs come and apply for them. We get good people that can operate equipment, but they just don't have the CDL aspect. So we had talked at one point about throwing that in a training fund, and then essentially having the county pay to have somebody get a CDL, and then working a contract with them, so they have to have an employment contract with us for a period of time. So we kind of talked about that in principle. And I think that now there's a couple of options we can discuss and to really clarify and move forward with that. Road and Bridge located a grant through Idaho Department of Transportation that covers, go ahead.
It's through the Idaho Department of Labor.
Oh, the Department of Labor.
It's called the Idaho Launch.
It's called the what?
The Idaho Launch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll pay 90%, isn't that right? 90% of a CDL cost, which would leave the county with that 10% burden. And then we would have to send somebody. It's like the Sage Trucking School, and it's a pretty intensive, anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks of training. So we would pay them, provide their benefits while they went to the training. We would then calculate out how much that actually cost us, right? The 10% plus the 4 to 5 weeks of time plus benefit, add those two together, and then say, if you work for us for the next 2 years, month to month, it just eats that away, right? It's not a benefit. It just reduces that cost. If somebody quits before that 2 years is up, they would be contractually obligated to pay us back whatever that balance would be in the number of months they have up to that 2 years. When I was the warden of the prison, we did this routinely. We would send people through the academy. We had the cost of the academy plus their hours and benefits figured out. We had a 3-year contract with them. We did have people leave, and we did get our money. So I feel like it's a pretty, it's a worthwhile endeavor for us to at least get people through and then have them work for us for a couple of years. I think they'd easily pay that back.
So, if I understand this right, we would be paying the truck driving school,
Mm-hmm.
and we're prorating this over 2 or 3 years or whatever it is, whatever this payment is, and then if someone leaves early, we're going to ask them to pay us for whatever that portion, what prorated portion was? Is that how you
Yeah,
do this?
so it would be not only the portion for the truck driving school, but also their time and benefit while they're gone. So for the 4 to 6 weeks they go to the school, they're responsible, we'd pay them, they'd clock in and do their normal time, and then that would be the total that would be part of the contract. And that would be a contract that would be signed before they go to the school. So it's a contract that they would sign saying, I will work for the county for 2 years and trade for this.
CDL.
We do the same thing when we send law enforcement to post. That's an investment we make in them, and if they don't complete post, or if they don't stay with us for 2 years after post, then we make them pay us a portion back. So it's the same concept.
And this works out?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's an incentive to at least keep them for a couple of years since
Right.
we're paying the costs.
And I mean, if people leave early,
Yeah.
it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting the money.
And it does hold up legally
How much money are
too.
we talking about?
I would imagine probably $3,000, $3,000 to $5,000.
And that includes all the costs you're talking
Mhm.
about, their time, the 10% of the school, all that
Yes.
stuff.
Because the school itself is, what is it, $3,500? No, it's $440.
43 and five.
$4,400, and with that grant, so would we pay the full, I don't know on the grant one, do we pay
We
the
would-
full amount?
No, the grant, after they applied and got approved for it, the amount that Bannock County would pay would be right around $800 of that $4,300.
Then if you have another 1,000 to 1,500 in labor, you're looking at a couple grand.
And I mean, I think we have to list it out as the full cost of employment, right, which does include labor, benefits, everything, because they're still going to accrue sick time on that, they're still going to do that. The one question is, like, if they don't pass.
Yeah. How we
Because
want
obviously with the
to-
sheriff's office, they don't keep their job.
So can you send us a copy of that grant
Mhm.
so that we know how that's
Yeah, I
going to
can
work
send you
and
the
if there's,
information.
and then does that grant address what happens if they don't pass? Does the county have to then reimburse that 90%?
It doesn't.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything.
So that's
like
something we
that.
want to probably follow.
There's also, now that the law's been out for about a year, so the law changed about a year ago to where now you have to go to a program, you can't just go take the test. Before it was easy, we could send people to just go take the test. They had plenty of drive time in some of our equipment, so it was easy to get them to pass. Now they have to actually take this class. There are a few more options for people taking classes, and so, but the grant specifically speaks to this program. But it may be worthwhile in the future if the grant stuff doesn't necessarily work out, that we could find maybe a cheaper alternative, but we would apply the same principle to it. It would be the cost of the school plus the cost of the county to send you, and that it would be what your contract would be. It would have to be maintained by HR. And then if somebody leaves early, I mean, like, there's ways that you debit vacation buyout. There's a lot of stuff a lot of ways to collect that. But
And also, we have at the bottom of our operators that we're requiring CDL that it's a 12-month. They have to have it by then in that description, so that might be if they didn't pass it there and they're not gonna get it in that 12 months, then they're gonna be terminated.
And it's introductory period, so we have a lot of leeway on.
I think that would be the direction we'd go with it too, is to put people through during that introductory period.
Let's, this group right here, get together, write up the criterias.
On the contract.
And what we feel like we need to have, and we need people to CDLs, and we need people to stay longer. And if we can provide, I mean, if we get 90% reimbursement, it'd be silly not to move forward with the program, but let's write it up so that we know exactly what we're asking, what we're doing, and everybody's on the same page and feels good about it.
And what the numbers are, I wasn't really clear on this.
The numbers may vary.
90%, and then we're talking $800, and so I want to know exactly what the numbers are and how it works out.
So the numbers may vary based off of the employee, right?
Right.
So the road and bridge might hire somebody at a higher rate than I hire somebody, but we both have that CDL requirement. So the numbers may vary a little bit. The $800 that she had mentioned is the 10% we would pay.
For the
But the
class.
cost was mentioned at being $4,500, so that's not 10%.
So it's $4,300, right?
Yeah, it's
44
$44.95.
is the one.
So you're right, it would be higher. It would be like, we'd probably see a $450 cost, right? If it's 90%.
When I called Sage, that was the amount of money that they gave me that other employers have been paying that have gotten the grant.
So there could be fees, like a testing
Yeah, there's
fee.
probably
So there
some
could be a
testing
school,
fees.
there could be a testing fee or some
Well,
assessment, but we could find out exactly what that
We're
is.
we're gonna want to know what the actual.
For sure.
Not,
For sure.
not just a guess.
There definitely won't be a guess on the contract that the people sign.
I understand about the different wage rates and that
Uh-huh.
type of thing, but as far as the truck driving school, we ought to be able to know what our costs are.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, so we'll get that information, then we'll present maybe a mocked-up contract to you, if that's okay. That'd be maybe a better way to go.
Well, like I say, if you're 4 offices, 5 offices, I'll come to a pretty good agreement. That's that 95% baked deal.
Great.
It's waiting for a signature, basically.
Awesome. All right, will do, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Dan, why don't you come up? Let's kind of holding off on the ones that we may need to go into executive session on for a minute.
Dan Kendall, Facilities Director.
Shannon Crystal, Chief Procurement Officer.
Ashley Ford, Maintenance Technician.
Todd Logger, juvenile probation.
Here for a Safe Teen Center update. Got the demolition complete. We've got a good head start on this project, ahead of the building permit. Architecture is complete as of yesterday, and so I submitted the building application with the City of Pocatello this morning. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll have a permit and be putting the thing back together.
I'm going to hand that over to Chris.
Oh, thank you.
There's the form that they sent out this morning.
Thank you. As you know, we've kind of opening this building up and checking for problems that were unforeseen, and we have 2 different styles of roof on that building. The front is a mechanically fastened metal roof. It's still in good condition. I think we're going to be okay to leave that as is, but the back of the building is a membrane roof, and we are assuming that it's an original to the building, which should make it 32 years old, and we've got some problems. And they finding all sorts of different ways that they were diverting water and instead of fixing it. But anyways, we feel like we need to put a new membrane roof on the back of this thing. Got a good idea that's going to be under the 50,000 mark, but we'd like to move forward on getting that roof replaced before we start putting in our new finishes. We don't want any more water damage going on. So I was hoping we could talk about that today and how we can get that paid for, and hopefully Christy can help us with that.
We've got a few options. We
Okay.
could use ARPA funds. We could use the local assistance funds where we have 500,000 of help money, the extra help money. So those would be most likely the best options. We would just have to see what the bids come back at.
So I've got a couple already, and it's looking like 49,000.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
That's convenient.
Yeah. Had one like four. Yeah. Had one about 48, and we had one about 49, so it's gonna be right in that ballpark.
We did spend 330,000 of ARPA funds towards the teen assessment, so we could just dip in another 50,000, roughly.
Is there an advantage to that over the, I think you said PILT dollars was the other?
Bookkeeping.
Both are gonna require reporting. We need to use ARPA funds first,
We do?
We have a
Yes.
deadline on when they have to be spent.
and those other ARPA funds, or those other PILT monies do not have, I mean, I have to report on them until they're spent, but we don't have a
PILT money.
deadline as to when they need spent.
And the deadline on ARPA is when again? I think that's, I forgot, what's the date?
24, December 31, 24.
Okay. All right,
Well, to be obligated,
right.
but
Report, and then it runs to 26 before they have to be spent, right? Isn't it something like that?
Yeah, that's
well,
right.
they're
20.
obligated. As long as it's
Obligated by the end of
by then.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just assume, we've already spent some ARPA funds on this project. I'd just assume, let's go ahead and continue on the same paperwork and authorize the ARPA funds for that, in my opinion.
So when that invoice comes in, we'll just pay it directly from, okay, so I'll set up a, sorry, I just got a text from somebody that said, spend the ARPA funds.
Is that Jeff?
I don't know.
Is that Jeff?
I don't know
Is
this
Jeff
number.
listening to us?
I'll have to give you that phone number and you can tell me if it's him. Oh, there we go. Maybe Jeff. Yes, that was Jeff.
Okay.
So that's Jeff's phone.
So, that's good. And then along that line, we also received 2 bills, correct? One from the engineer and one from the other group.
Pre-construction.
Yes.
headwaters,
Pre-construction.
Yeah, and we coded those to county operations.
And we couldn't use the grant for them, we had to cover them out of the county fund, so just as long as we're having a conversation, we can have it all.
Yeah, we had to revise the grant budget to purchase the building and then receive those invoices later.
Yeah. Which I didn't understand when we redid the grant, but now we do, and now we paid them, and we're good up to this point. How's things going over there?
Really good. I like the bones of the building. It gives you a lot of flexibility. You can do anything you wanted to with that place, the way it's put together. So I'm excited to get going on it. And hopefully in a couple of weeks we're framing. So it's worked out really well with the other projects. It's fit in nicely. The only other unforeseen thing I can see is with that roof leaking the way it has, it's gone behind the stucco, and I don't know to what extent that has done as far as water damage, but I can tell you that you can push on a few spots of that building and it's come loose, so probably have to remove a section of that, but I haven't had a stucco guy over there to take a look at it for me quite yet, so we'll come back and see you on that one.
Well, to me, I mean, we're gonna rely on your expertise, and we need to get it fixed, and we have identified that we're gonna use some ARPA funds to correct the problem, so I would say move forward.
Okay.
You don't have to come back every single time we have a minor, or a smaller bill. Let's
If it's something you can absorb within the money you've got within the budget.
Sure.
If it's something big, we'll want to use ARPA,
Right.
because we don't want to use ARPA for little things.
Right. Well, I think
This was perfect.
with what we budgeted, everything looks great. The only two things I can see that we didn't see coming was the roof and the stucco, so everything is going well.
Which to me, they're combined project here.
I'd love for you guys to stop by and take a look. You can't even recognize it already. It's opened up and looks great.
We'll have to do that.
We had a.
So okay, if we wait till the weather's better if we walk over.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Todd's kids, community service came over and spent a day cleaning, and it looks fantastic, so.
I was over there this morning, I got frostbite on my ears going back.
I did too. Shoveling the.
We might have to invest in something to clean the sidewalks between the buildings, because
Yeah.
some businesses aren't doing that.
A shuttle.
Okay,
Good?
thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Looks like Dave sent other people. Come on up. Let's, I think we just go ahead and go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we enter into executive session, well, where's the code here? Under Idaho Code